Well, most of us have never heard of energy work. I mean, when you think of energy work, you're thinking, oh, a Monster energy drink, something like that. But what's energy work? It's not something that comes up in at least my circles in daily conversation.
It's all that woo-woo stuff. Right?
Yeah, a little psychobabble, new age kind of psychological, maybe.
Yeah, right. Until that one precious moment when you came to my office and you, after sheetrocking and stuff, I think I remember, wasn't it you were doing some sheetrocking or lifting sheetrock or something, and you couldn't lift your glass anymore, or a cup?
Well, I couldn't. I damaged my left upper arm transporting a 40-foot extension ladder, and when I rented it, they said, you've got help, and I said, no, I don't have help, I can do it. I'm a macho man, I can do this. And I got it off the Jeep, I got it up to the house, and as I was taking the ladder away from the house, I lost control of it, and I didn't want to damage the house and go through a window, and I ended up using my left arm as kind of a lever or a fulcrum, extending it, and really hurt, but I was able to get the ladder back, and it was several weeks later I was doing something else and noticed I just didn't have strength in that arm anymore. And I could flex it, but it was just like sponge cake. It was not there. And I went to my primary care doctor, and he said it could have been reattached if I would have gone right in. But having, like 3 weeks later, he said, you have to live with it. Develop your secondary muscles, but you're never going to have your arm the way it was. And then you and I talked. And it happened when, several weeks after that extension ladder accident, was that I was trying to carry something. I noticed I just didn't have the strength, so I went into my primary care doctor, and he said it had become unattached here, and that if I was in there within 24 hours, he said we could have attached it, but since I didn't, you have to live with it. And I didn't want to do that. I was like, that's not okay with me. I need this arm. I need it full capacity. So Theresa says, let's try energy work, which I think is like the third time I've ever even heard the term. So I come into her office, and this is where you're going to have to refresh my memory. She just kind of said, I'm just going to kind of be here, and I'm going to be sending energy to the tissues, and you asked me to do something.
I told you to think in your mind, repair, restore, renew, and just keep on telling your tissue to repair, restore, renew, because your brain is like a computer, and so it sends those messages to all of the cells in your body. And if you're focusing on one area that really needs the healing, you're really sending a lot of energy there. And so
that's what you were doing on your end,
that's
too.
what I was doing on my end too. So two people working together, actually focusing on that area.
I'm going from the inside, you're going from the outside. And I remember kind of making it into a prayer, because that's my spirituality. And after about 50 minutes, and I closed my eyes for most of it, but there's Theresa just, probably 2 inches away to an inch away from my arm. And about 50 minutes later, she goes, I think we're done for today. And I was like, okay. And she goes, what do you think? And I went, and it was just like sponge cake. Nothing had changed. And I was so disappointed. I was like, are you kidding? Nothing? And you said, Greg, healing takes time. Let's do a couple more sessions. So we rescheduled. And I think the only difference on the second session at the beginning was you just kind of
lightly massaged it
just to get some blood moving a little bit. And then it was the same deal though. And the second session was very different. There was definitely heat. I'd say heat primarily. And I'm praying that restore, renew, and I think you actually started perspiring. Second session.
I did. There was a lot of energy starting to flow through him, through me, but to him, and his body was receiving it. And yeah, I started to get really sweaty.
Did you know something was going on?
Yeah, I can feel the energy because it surges through my body. When you release something, a lower frequency or a blockage gets opened up or whatever, it surges through my body and it hits me in different places, and then my breath does a really funny thing.
You actually, you start changing the way you breathe.
Right, because I'm channeling that energy through. So basically it's like a something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
So when a big event happens, it's like there's a connection, an energetic connection between the healing energy and the wounded area. That interaction, that energetic interaction, sets off some kind of a surging sensation through my body, and so I just have to channel that. And
well, I felt the heat.
yeah.
And after about 50 minutes, you know, he said, we're done for today. Check your arm, what do you think? And I remember I was like, oh my gosh, there's something there now. You said how much? What percentage did you say is restored? I said, I imagine about 40%. I mean, there was a density difference. It was like, oh my gosh, it does feel stronger. So you said, I think one more session is going to do it. And I'm like, okay, when can we do it? So the third session, same kind of protocol. I was praying on my end, you're praying and doing your energy work on your end. We were both, there was heat that day, there was definitely tingling, there was something moving big time, and so we're both kind of dripping and knowing something's going on. And again, about 50 minutes, and you said, I think you're done. And I remember, you know, smiling, and I think you were very confident. I think you were like, tell me what percentage you think you're back. And I'm like 95% back. And you said, there you go. I mean,
give it a couple of days, and let's make sure it's 100% in a couple of days. That's basically how I handle things when I work with torn tissue, tendonitis, bursitis, torn rotator cuffs, any of those, or carpal tunnel. It's got to be
carpal tunnel too.
Yes, I do. You didn't know that.
I need to make an appointment.
Anyway, so I try to make sure that the client is experiencing at least getting to that 100% back. You know, their movement back, their normalcy back. Because if it's not, it'll go backwards again.
It will.
I have seen that with
It'll degenerate?
golfers. Well, if it's not 100%, then a person's still working with, they're using and they're wearing down a muscle that's still really weak and compromised and wounded, right? And if I can get it to that 100%, then it's done, because now the muscle memory is holding back to normal. You know, it's 100%.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can use some more help then.